Okay, hi everybody. It's me again. It's nighttime this time if you're watching this. So it is June 28th, and this is episode 476 of the Hoopercast. So this episode is the Iron Claw. This was originally part of a larger review of the Iron Claw and Succession and the Bear, and then I just decided on a whim in post that I was going to split them into two episodes. So much so that I did not make new cover art. So the thumbnail is the same for this episode as the previous one. And I'm not going to go back and change it because I don't care. So what you think about that? Anyways, this is its own episode. So when we talk at the very beginning about how this ties into quote unquote those two shows, I'm talking about Succession and the Bear. So you don't have to go back and listen to that in order to enjoy this, but it might make a little sense as to where those two things are or what they are. Wouldn't kill you, but whatever. So, okay. Anyway, so this is our review of the Iron Claw. Enjoy it. We're not at 2 minutes yet in this intro. What else is going on in your life? Is everything else cool? Are you doing okay? Anything you want to talk about? You could talk to me about it. I won't talk back. I can't hear you. But I'll try. I'm sorry that's so hard for you. It's gonna be okay. And you're doing great. I'm sure you did your best. It's okay. Just try again tomorrow. All right, goodbye. So, something that has a link with both of those shows happens to be the Iron Claw.
Ever since I was a child, people said my family was cursed. Mom tried to protect us with God. Pop tried to protect us with wrestling. He said if we were the toughest, the strongest, nothing could ever hurt us. I believed him. We all did.
Morning.
Pants tomorrow, please, David.
Harry, I want you to join your brothers in the ring.
Yes, sir. I love that.
Woo! Now, we all know Harry's my favorite, then Kev, then David, then Mike. But the rankings can always change.
What do you want in life, Kevin and Eric?
More ribs? I want to be with my family. Be with my brothers.
What do you like to do with your brothers?
Together, we can do anything.
We're here to restore justice to the Wrestling Federation that our father built with his own two hands. The hands that were passed down to us. The hands that will deliver the Iron Claw to you.
So what do you think? Like we're alive.
I love your family, Kevin.
You gonna be an uncle? Yes, sir.
Oh, man, that makes me so happy.
I'll talk to you about something, Mom. Dad's too tough on us. You gotta say something.
Baby, that's what your brothers are for.
Feel that? You feel that? That's pressure.
You're pushing too hard.
I'm fine, Kev. Seriously, I'm just sick.
I'm scared, man. It all out of control.
It was a terrible accident.
I should have stopped him. I need to think about my family.
Your job is to wrestle. Live up to that deal, or we are through.
I told you to look out for him!
I just love being out there with you guys. It's the only thing that matters to me.
The Bonner will forever be the greatest family in the history of wrestling.
This is the film written and directed by Sean Durkin. Does he just have a funny name, or do I know him from somewhere? Oh, okay. So he directed Martha, Marcy May, Marlene, which I still have not seen. but I always heard was good. I need to check that out. Okay, cool. So as you know, Dustin, but as the audience may or may not know, The Iron Claw is that film that you have probably seen with Zac Efron being ripped, but specifically big wrestler, 80s ripped. Should have been specific which one. But so this film stars Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White, as we mentioned from The Bear, Harris Dickinson, Maura Tierney, Holt McCallany, who is the patriarch of the family here. You know who he is. You may not know his name, but he's the guy from Fight Club. And then he's the guy who had that show Lights Out. And most recently he's on, he's FBI Special Agent Bill Tench on Mindhunter. I love Holt McCallany. He's one of those great character actors, and I'm always glad when I see him in a role. I saw him like the same day I saw this in some silly movie about like a talking car that my son was watching, and it was jarring.
Yeah. Right.
And of course, the silver bullet of any film that I end up liking, Lily James, whose mere presence in movies seems to raise it a star rating automatically. So the Iron Claw is about the Von Erich family, which I knew nothing about, but they were this famous family in wrestling in the late 70s, early 80s. The World Class Championship Wrestling Company, which ended up getting folded into like the WWE or something. But they're a family of wrestlers. And their father, what's his name? Fritz Von Erich, was a wrestler and never really got the recognition that he felt he was owed. And, ended up making it his life's mission for one of his sons to take the heavyweight belt for the family's honor. Essentially, it's like an honor quest for Fritz. And so he drives them very hard. They all train really hard. He plays favorites with them, depending on who's doing the best. Great parenting. And, and essentially leverages their
competitive nature
and their eagerness to please him to push them into performing better. This is the link that it shares with Succession. A father willingly pitting his children against each other in order to push them towards or away from a goal he wants for them. Or in Succession's case, sometimes to preserve power for himself. It's very interesting. At the same time I'm watching this show and I'm watching this movie, I'm reading this book, Good Inside by Becky Kennedy, about kids and parenting and stuff. And I'm just like, wow, like these family dynamics are all over this book. It's just, it's a strange confluence of things. But Succession and Iron Claw are both very wrapped around the theme of focusing too much on securing the approval of your parents. Of course, that is part of what is driving Kevin Von Erich, the Zac Efron character, towards, pushing himself towards this goal and sort of learning as you do, as you grow and you start your own family, like you start to wonder, like, what do I want out of life? Is what I want out of life to simply please my dad? Is it to achieve professional goals? Or do I want to, what is it that I want? And it's juxtaposed against this curse that I guess that Fritz is really put the bug in their ear about how they're cursed, and that's why like he never got his shot. He's a narcissist. bad things do start to happen to the Von Erichs, and even to their fifth sibling, who is not in this film. They literally said it was just too much tragedy to add the fifth brother. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So in that way, the film's a tragedy. This is I did not expect the film to be this good. I expected it to be like well made, but it's pretty damn good. And it's a cautionary tale living your parents' dream, allowing your parents to live through you, to to vicariously exist and achieve success through you that they never were able to achieve for themselves. And how, of course, when you mix business and family like that and disregard for your children's emotions or their developmental well-being, it's very messy, and it doesn't lead to good places. It can lead to catastrophic, life-altering, life-ending consequences, or at the very best, you achieve things and you just resent each other for the rest of your life, and you never have the ability to be close ever again. So it's bad all the time, and you can watch this movie to see the extent to which end of that spectrum it affects the Von Erichs if you don't know their story at all. Good movie, great performances. Every time something sad or scary would happen, there's someone doing pull-ups and there's pecs and everyone's skin looks like it's about to rip open like a balloon popping in slow motion. Yeah. It was almost painful. I'd like watch Zac Efron like pumping weights, and I'm like, you're gonna break it. You're gonna break it. You're gonna rip it. You're gonna rip your skin. It's just gonna split open. So it's Iron Claw's worth it.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this family either. Like, I don't know anything about wrestling in general. And I was just taken off guard. Like, I knew this was a drama. I knew it was not actually about wrestling. So I knew this could get heavy. I didn't know it'd get this heavy. It is, but yeah, I mean, it's shocking, and some of it you start to see it coming, and you're just like, oh no, don't do this too. No, don't do it. And then it happens, and you're like, oh God. Yeah. Why this also? Come on. And it's to the point where you just want somebody to like, I don't know. You just want somebody to like grab Fritz by the face and just be like, quit doing this. Like, this is you.
Wish someone would give him the Iron Claw.
Hey. But yeah, man, I don't know. I was impressed. I think it was very well acted. I'm still not sold on Zac Efron as a performer.
He is not in the same spot, but he's in a similar spot to me as Ryan Reynolds, where he's so good looking and so like physically, like he's got so much to give, like physically, to a role. You almost wonder, like, in a way, this was like a really good spot to put him as like this very earnest, driven athlete who's eager to please.
Yes.
It almost works better than seeing him as like I don't know. I happen to like Zac Efron. So I'm more sold on his appeal, but I haven't watched, like, I probably haven't watched most of his movies. I just like him.
I haven't either. I haven't watched most of them, but I think that, like, for me, there's a couple moments, his final scene, there's a scene pretty early on with him and Lily James in a restaurant where I'm like, this is really good. This is really good. And then there's a few scenes where I'm like, I don't know if I'm sold, and I don't know exactly what it was that was taking me out, and I'm not an expert on performance, but there was something about the performance that when it was really good, it was really good. And when it was not so good, it was still good, just less good. Does that make sense? Like it was never a bad it was never bad.
Yeah.
It was a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like that's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah. I know what you mean though. I think I picked up on that too.
I don't know that I could recommend a different actor in that role.
Right.
So there's that too. Like, it's not like I'm over here going, oh, you know, who should have played that is this, like, I'm not there, but I'm just like, okay. But it was so great. There's a moment, and we'll keep it spoiler free, but there's a moment where, there are some characters that, I guess this is more of like it's not a dream sequence, but it's, fantasy in some way.
Yeah.
That moment like ripped my heart right out of my chest for some reason. And there's that, and Zac Efron's final scene where I'm just like, I'm dying. And I'm just like, these are feelings I don't think I was prepared to feel.
Yeah.
But
you're talking
so
about the boat scene.
The boat scene.
Yeah. That was very well done.
It was very well done.
Yeah. Very emotional.
And I was just like, this is exactly what you want from a movie.
Yeah.
And it's so good that it almost makes me forgive completely my only gripe. Here's my gripe, and I'm curious where you fell on this, because I actually had to go to Reddit and figure out if
you're crazy,
how I'm supposed to be interpreting this.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about wrestling. My impression of it is that these matches are scripted, and the winner is chosen in advance, and this fight itself is largely improvised, with some moments of choreography thrown in, or at least like a general talk of like, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that, then I'm going to do this, and like but there's not like it's not like a choreographed fight that you'd see in like a film, right? So there are moments where it's played dramatically for tension. Who's going to win this fight? And I kept being removed from the film thinking, but don't they know who's going to win the fight? So where's this tension coming from? It feels artificial.
Yeah.
It feels like the film, and maybe this is what it was, the film was trying to portray it the way that an individual would have watched it.
Sure.
Outside of the ring, but inside the ring, the actors, the wrestlers rather, know something that the audience does not know.
Right.
But even they themselves are playing as if they don't know it.
Right.
So it's a very strange thing. And there's this scene with Lily James in the restaurant early where she says something like, "Isn't it all fake?"
Right.
And he says, "Well, no. I mean, it's like any job. If I do well, I get promoted." And I'm like, right. So what you're saying is the fight is rigged to where you will win this to get that promotion. So then later, when they're like, you know, it's played with some tension as to who might win this fight versus that fight.
Yeah.
I was taken out because I'm like, but they know, don't they?
I was unclear on that too. It was like, it's not your shot, it's this person's shot. And it's like, it's like, why though? Like, can't isn't that just decided in the front office, you know?
Right. The people in the office are deciding this, right? Like, I don't understand why this is such a big thing. And there's the moment where Zac Efron's character gets hit, or gets like, you know, driven on his back down into the ground.
Yeah.
And they're counting it at 1, 2, 3, and he's struggling to get up. And so this is where this question started to creep in, because I'm thinking, okay, is he playing it up, and he's like playing up the fact that he can't get up, and he's playing it well as an actor would to the audience, but there's no wink at the camera to me watching the movie to know whether or not it's real or not. And then after the fight, he says, I didn't mean for it to go that long. I didn't know I was going to hit that hard. I was hurting. So I'm like, okay. So that answers the question, but it was too late because I already was feeling, is he actually in pain or is he playing it for the audience?
That scene I thought was fine because I could tell that something had gone wrong and that he was more hurt than he was supposed to be. Because then, direction, acting, musical cues, that all communicates that. But there are times where it did, you're right, there are times where it did that, where the match is just going as scripted. But I, as the audience, am made to feel uncertain about what's happening. Yeah. And the focus on the performance of the actor is not for the extras playing the audience. It's for me, the audience member. Yeah. Like, I'm supposed to feel like, wait a minute, what's, and I should be with him inside of, like, if there's a real tension that he's feeling beyond like the job hazards of being injured and stuff.
Right. The tension isn't who's going to win. The tension is something deeper character wise that we should be feeling.
I also wonder if like part of making it's almost like if you make a movie about like a magician, it's like you can't tell people exactly how it works. There's like some code. Cause I felt the same like lack of satisfaction at, why can't y'all just tell it? Like, because I would understand this storyline better if I did understand how it works. And I don't think the movie, whether on purpose or not, does a good job of explaining that. I'm looking on Reddit here. I just Googled like, how does wrestling work? And this person has a friend who's a pro wrestler. It is not fully scripted. The outcome is predetermined by the organization. And there is a general guideline for how long the match should last, and they play off the crowd. When you see wrestlers clinch up in the ring, they are telling each other what the next several moves will be. Training as a pro wrestler is about how to perform moves safely. Driving a 250-pound man into the ground on his head will kill him. So that's not what you're actually doing. It just looks like you're doing it. The whole reason for rivalries, Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, Undertaker, Mankind, is so that you work with the same person all the time, which reduces the risk of injury. They actually are good friends with each other because you have to be, or you wouldn't put your life on the other person's hands night after night. So that all makes sense. I just wish I sort of knew like, well, what influence, like, is it as simple as, hey, this year The Rock is going to win the belt. Yeah. And like, unless he gets injured, and then we have to like, change stuff. Because if it's that simple, this movie still doesn't make that much sense because it seems like it changes. It seems like if the crowd is, I wish there'd been a scene where Fritz, as the head of the organization, and maybe they gave us this because there are scenes that sort of do what I'm about to suggest, but it made it seem like it was out of his hands. He would say like, hey, it's whatever. It's Carrie's time. And it's like, I wish he would have said, it's a better story. Yeah, right. As the head of the organization, it's just a better story. Yeah. So it either makes the film like seem negligent in that it leaves out character dynamics like that. Like, who is deciding this? It's Fritz. Yeah. Or it's trying to be subtle in that Fritz intentionally doesn't make the reason 100% business. It's like it's almost like they chose for him to make it intentionally personal that he's going to pick a different son. Right. Because that's what will motivate Kevin. Sure. But if that's the case, that was a little unclear or could have been done a little more explicitly so that we felt Kevin feeling, because Kevin, it's almost like Kevin feels like, well, shit, it's just not my time anymore, but them's the breaks, instead of, hey, my father decided that I'm not the best anymore. Like, I didn't feel that. I just felt from him, my father pushes us too hard. Yeah. And that kind of makes me feel sad, instead of what the fuck, like what Succession does is, my father just made me a promise and then pulled the rug out from under me because he's a dick. Yeah. Like that could have been in here. And it's interesting because there is a moment, I can't remember when in the film this happens, but there's a moment where Zac Efron's, outside the ring, somebody else is in wrestling, and I think it's somebody else from the organization or something. And he's just kind of acting as coach. It's maybe towards the end, third act somewhere. And you very clearly see him
Like he's trying to be a coach and be cheering and supportive and whatever, but you see him struggling.
Yeah.
And he's like feigning it. And then when the audience starts reacting, then he reacts the same way they're reacting because he's not paying attention.
Yeah.
And so there are moments where we're let in on what that character is thinking. But when they're in the ring, I think it's weird because it's like they wanted to go for this Rocky kind of thing where it is a skill-based, who's stronger, who's better.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah.
And so, and so it's almost like they did both. And so you're right. It's not clear enough what the mechanics of it are. And as somebody who would know, Zac Efron's character should be more angry at a specific person or at a specific time because of, what's been decided for him than he is. And so, yeah, that's my biggest complaint with the film. And I would say it's my lack of understanding of wrestling, but I don't think I should have to know more about wrestling to understand the tension of the film.
Right.
So I think that is probably a fault of the film, but the rest of the film is so darn good. I'm almost willing to look it completely over.
Right. Exactly.
So I do recommend this film. I gave it 4 stars, which is a great rating for me. I mean, and I know some people are like, oh, 4 stars. I'm like, well, there's only one in between that and perfect. So it's pretty good score. But like, but for me, like 4 stars, because it's so well made, so well crafted. It has that issue that is an issue, but it made me feel all the feelings. And though I may not want to rewatch it soon, I kind of do want to rewatch it one day.
Sure.
And that's a big thing for a movie that's this depressing for me to say, I'd like to rewatch
Let's do that again.
Yeah. Let's depress myself again.
Yeah.
But it's just because it's so good. And those moments, the boat, the actual romance between him and Lily James is very well done.
Yeah.
And I haven't even talked about her, but she's great. And, it's just like Maura Tierney is great. There's a scene that she has with Lily James that's like heartbreaking.
Yep.
And there's so much that works about this film. It's one of my favorites that I've seen recently.
It's almost cheating to have Lily James in your movie.
It's true.
It's like, how do we give so much goodwill to an underwritten character? We cast Lily James and she just like smiles and puts on an accent. And it's like, shit, she's worth every penny.
and it's funny because like she's in so much and I feel like people still don't really know who she is.
I know. She I think you're right.
But
she's so good. She's in,
Yeah, she is. I mean, I think about like Baby Driver and I think about Yesterday, which like Yesterday, take it or leave it, but only really works because of her.
A big reason the Cinderella remake works is because of her.
I never saw that, but like,
it's pretty, it's okay,
Sure.
And
well, it was like the first of those and Kenneth Branagh directed it, right?
Yeah.
So it's bound to be a little better.
Those are ill-conceived and terrible, and I hate them. But Cinderella is one of the ones where I was like, well, this is okay. Like I'll excuse it because it's pretty precious, and Lily James is really good in it. But the Guernsey Potato Peel Pie Society, that movie, she's great in. I think she's in Downton Abbey some. She's great in that. So I mean that she's great, and I mean I think that people, I didn't see Pam and Tommy, but I think that a lot of people may have seen her. She probably got some recognition for that, but you're right. Like she's sort of like an underappreciated, and maybe that's the way she likes it. Like just do just enough, but never like, I don't know. I'm reading into her career choices now. Like intentionally isn't blowing up, but like I almost feel like I don't know. I like to give actors credit sometimes because I like to think that some of them are avoiding like peaking. And so it's like they're edging. Like I'll do just enough to where I'm about to get real famous and I'll cool off and do some theater.
Yeah.
And I'll always be like a step above character actor, but like a step below A-list star.
Yeah. Every time Kevin Feige calls, she's like, "Oh, I'm going through tunnel.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Hey, you want to play Squirrel Girl?" She's like,
"No."
And that's not even. I'm not even playing hard to get. Just no. I don't want to.
That's a no. That's a hard no.
Wow, you're at Squirrel Girl. Woof.
Yeesh.
You remember when we were in college and people were like, Anna Kendrick should be Squirrel Girl. And like at that point, like only like Iron Man had come out, and it was like, slow down,
slow yourself down.
It's been over 15 years. We're still not there yet.
Yes, right.
We haven't gotten that far down the roster. We put MODOK in a movie, but we're not going to do Squirrel Girl.
Also, wouldn't Squirrel Girl be really hard for a Brit to say?
That would be impossible, wouldn't it?
Try it.
Squirrel Go.
Squirrel Go.
Squirrel Go. Mick Jagger's going to the movies. Oh, I want to see Squirrel Go. In it.
You want to see Squogwo? What are you talking?
Miracle Grow? Scrotum? Is that what you're saying? You want to see scrotum?
Sorry to all of our British listeners.
I want to see Squirrel Go. Paul, what do you think?
Sorry to Ringo Starr.
Sorry to that one British fan that we just got back.
Yeah. All right. Well,
revolving door.
They did say sorry. Oh, that's it. You can't go after Ringo like that.
He went into the old fashioned phone booth and right back out of it.
That big red phone booth.
Like the rest of his kind.
Bigger on the inside, isn't it?
There's a squirrel girl in here. Smoke my bubble pipe.
Fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
The Beatles.
The one-piece striped bathing suits.
Shaken, not stirred. Goodbye, England. You'll never listen to the Hoopercast again.
Yeah. No, Lily James is great.
She is. Yeah, fantastic.
Like I said, a silver bullet.
If you ever want a shot with Lily James, you need to edit out the last 2 minutes of the podcast.
This was supposed to be a love letter to Lily James, and now it's just me making fun of her country.
True forever. 4.5 minutes of just making fun of where you came from.
Maybe she hates England. Let me see.
Did you Google
Lily James?
Does Lily James hate England?
No, still loves England very much. Okay,
great.
All right. Well, I'll take her off my profile, my Hinge profile then.
It just says looking for
Lily James.
Lily James.
The question is, are you or are you not Lily James? If the answer is no, unmatched.
If the answer is yes.
Have you heard my stand-up routine on how horrible England is? A place I've never been and have no first-hand knowledge of. A place I only know about through mockery and media.
A place where my first association is bubble pipe.
A place where, when I picture it, the adults all have bubble pipes in front of phone booths and children are all smoking and drinking beer.
What a terrible day at school.
I'm sorry, ale,
yes.
At the pub.
All the kids go to the pub after school.
Oh, did you have a shit day at school? Oh, a shit day in it.
Hey, took away me gold star. They sent me with a note to me mum.
Have to go Saturday school. Too many squirrels on Saturday.
James said I smelled like a girl.
They told me I had the wrong shoes. That could be a whole improvised episode. Like a whole routine is just drunk British children.
Drunk British kids. I heard she's sour. How about do homework?
She made fun of me because my mom left my dad. Anyway, all right. Wow. Okay, so is that it for the Iron Claw?
I think so. Okay. I don't know how we got there,
Probably
but
should
cool.
be.
It should definitely be the end of the Iron Claw.
I don't think we'll, pardon the pun, I don't think we'll claw our way back to
I don't think so.
Any more legitimate comments about that movie. If you made it this far, I'm sorry, this is the end. Goodbye. Have to go to Saturday school.
Fish and chips.